It's time for some Dynasty Football League Week 5 report. We're going to cover the standings, statistics, current free agents, all that good stuff leading into Week 6. So everyone knows, everyone has until tomorrow to get their moves in once they see this video. And considering it's a little after 12, owners will have until 12 o'clock Eastern Time tomorrow to get that information in. So we're going to start out here with the AFC North. So we'll just call it the North. Mounties are 3-1, Aviators 2-1, the Cougars are 2-2, and the Brooklyn Beats are 1-2. And that, ladies and gentlemen, that will be the North Division standings after Week 4. Going to the South, the Armadillos are 3-1. The Bisons are also 3-1. The Dreadnoughts 2-2, with the Voyagers 1-3. Going to the East, the Wizards 4-0. The Steamers 3-1. Bulldogs 2-2, and the Shamrocks are 1-2. Going to the West, the Elks 3-1. Red Dragons 3-1. The Riverhogs 2-2, and the Miners 1-3. So we'll take it all the way straight to the AFC. And now, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to flip this in the reverse order. This is your waiver wire order. The first team on the waiver wire will be the Miners. They currently do not have an owner, but update. I am in the process of speaking to someone on this issue with this team. If they accept, they will take over this team right now, immediately. I told them in my last discussion with them, which happened to be yesterday and this morning while I was at work, I want you to take over this team if you're going to in time for the waiver wire session. Meaning I will have to get in touch with them here today and say, look, waiver wire is now until noon tomorrow. I need to know if you're in or if you're out. Now, the person in question said they are honestly not comfortable with the name Miners, which I knew somebody wouldn't be. And I told them I didn't know what you want me to do about it. You can't really do nothing. That's the team name. But I will address that issue here in about a minute. I just need to go through the waiver wire, and then I will waiver wire order, and then I'll go back to this. Alright, so we got the Miners. They'll get first dibs. Again, if they don't have an owner, they will get passed by, and I'll go straight to the Voyagers. Then it's the Shamrocks, the Beats, the Riverhogs, Dreadnoughts, Bulldogs, Cougars, Aviators, Bisons, Armadillos, Mounties, Red Dragons, Elks, Steamers, and the Wizards. Now all these teams here are 3-1, but the first 3-1 team that's going to get dibs is the Bison. Then it goes in that order. So wherever your team falls, it'll go in that order. So for example, the Cougars, say they want somebody, all these teams above them are going to get a first crack at the team, or the players for their team before they will. So going back to this Miners issue, you see that right there at the top of the screen? It says start relocation. Relocation, team, ununiformed, stadium. If I hit the R3 button, and I just take the next team, the Mounties, you guys will see this. I've never seen this before in Dynasty before. There it is again for the Toronto Mounties. So, go to the next one. Elks. Again, you see it. So now this is going to take me to the Sacramento Mounties. Sacramento Miners, excuse me. Excuse me for the yawn, I'm on 2 hours of sleep, so I apologize. Boom, there it is. I let this person know, hey, I can actually relocate the team right here, right now. So I clicked on it, and I hit view available cities. London. If they go to London, the Bulldogs are already taken. They can become the Monarchs and the Black Knights, but they're in the West. Since London's already in the East, they can't beat London. If they go to Oakland, they're going to remain the Miners. They go to St. Louis, they're going to remain the Miners. Mexico City, and that's your last choice. Meaning, this is kind of the South. This is kind of the South. So what I'm doing right now is I'm asking all owners, if this particular person does not want to take over a team known as the Sacramento Miners, who was against them relocating to Mexico City and becoming the Diablos, because the Golden Eagles will not be a choice due to the simple fact that the Eagles are an NFL team, and I'm not going to go Golden Eagles. This team should be more South, but like I said, since the divisions have already been determined, they would slide into the West. Now, as you can tell by the map, to the left there's obviously California, so they're not too far away from where they should be. I need some honest opinions on this. Get a hold of me. Let me know what you think, because I'm going to need to take care of this today. This has to be taken care of today if we want to get this particular owner in. I'll get them on board right away, because I don't know if I'm going to have the opportunity for the relocation next week, and I want to move everything along tomorrow as planned. So we may have an owner for the Sacramento Miners, but they will want to be known as Mexico City Diablos instead. Just unfamiliar with the name Miners. And yes, they're looking at it with the O instead of the E in Miners. Just, yeah, I'm not going into the details with that particular owner, but it's personal. That's all I can say, and you guys can fill in the blanks as you just wish and desire. All right, now going to the schedule. This will be the next thing, the next point. We will need to be airing the Dreadnoughts at the Bisons game. That's one game that we air this week. Aviators at the Mounties will be the second game that gets aired. The Beats, since they're playing an NFL team, will get a win by default. Same with the Cougars, since they're playing the Falcons. Now we have the Shamrocks at the Armadillos, which gives us 3 games. Dragons will end up beating the Cardinals. Elks over the Rams. Miners over the Niners. Yeah, Miners over the Niners. Yep. Wizards over the Packers. Then you have the Bulldogs at the Steamers, which gives you 4 games. So those will be the 4 games that need to be aired this week in week 5. So it's not many. So again, it's Bulldogs at Steamers, Shamrocks at Armadillos, Aviators at Mounties, Dreadnoughts at the Bisons. So those, ladies and gentlemen, will be your 4 games that get aired this week. If you are not in one of those 4 games, you are going to get a win by default, or you are on a bye week. Now we're going to go here. Going to the stats, and I want to show you guys this because I was asked this yesterday and the day before. There's no MVP candidates right now. There's just, you don't get to see it. But what you get to see is players of the week, so I'll show you guys this. Red Dragons quarterback, defensive tackle for the Bison were the players of the week in week 1. Week 2, it was the Beats quarterback and Haran, the right end for the Wizards. Week 3, Aviators quarterback and Haran again of the Wizards. And this past week, it was Kyle Young, the quarterback for the Bisons, and Goldsberry, the corner for the Riverhogs. So that's your players of the week so far, 4 weeks in. Now what we can do is do some team stats. We're going to go to our league. And if you click this, this shows you the number 1 total. But we want total offense. The number 1 offense in the league belongs to the Armadillos. Number 2, Bulldogs. Then you got the Red Dragons, the Bisons, the Mounties, the Wizards, Steamers, Voyagers, Dreadnoughts, Miners, Riverhogs, Cougars, Elks, Aviators, Beats, Shamrocks. So as of right now, we have 2 teams, Beats and the Shamrocks, who have not hit the 1,000-yard mark. They're right there, 12 yards off. So that is your total offense. You saw where you're ranked going down to total pass offense. Armadillos again, number 1, followed by the Bulldogs. The Voyagers are 3. Miners, Bisons, Riverhogs, Cougars, Steamers, Dreadnoughts, Mounties, Wizards, Red Dragons, Aviators, Beats, Elks, and the Shamrocks. The Shamrocks having 512 yards after 3 games on the field for that team is not that good. So they're going to have some work to do there. Alright, going to the rushing. The Red Dragons lead the league in rushing. Then it's the Mounties, the Wizards, the Bulldogs, the Bisons, the Elks, the Armadillos, the Steamers, the Dreadnoughts, the Shamrocks, the Aviators, the Riverhogs, the Cougars, the Voyagers, the Miners, and the Beats come in dead last with rushing offense. 234 yards after 3 games for them. Now we're going to go to the defense. Total defense. The Mounties are the only team in the league to not give up 1,000 yards so far. That is a good thing for the Mounties. That's the number 1. Shamrocks, as much as they've been struggling, are the number 2 total defense in the DFL. That is wild. Aviators, Red Dragons, Beats, Armadillos, Steamers, Elks, Cougars, Miners, Voyagers, Bulldogs, Dreadnoughts, Wizards, Riverhogs, and Bisons. This team right here is undefeated, 4-0, and yet they're the 13th ranked defense. That shows you how powerful their offense has been. Bisons, excuse me, yeah, here we go. Shamrocks are the number 1 team against the rush. Or the pass, excuse me. 686 yards allowed in 3 games against the pass, which is not bad. Then we've got the Cougars, or Red Dragons, Aviators, what's going on, Quavos? Beats, Mounties, Steamers, Elks, Armadillos, Miners, Voyagers, Wizards, Dreadnoughts, Bulldogs, Riverhogs, Bison. Bison are the worst team in the league against the pass. Going to total rush. The Mounties have only given up 201 rushing yards in 4 games. Maybe my favorite stat in all the game, whether it be a team stat or an individual stat or a record. Giving up 201 yards rushing in 4 games is freaking great. Bison's number 2, Aviators 3, Armadillos 4, Steamers 5, and then we move on to Beats, Elks, Shamrocks, Red Dragons, Bulldogs, Dreadnoughts, Riverhogs, Miners, Voyagers, Wizards, and the Cougars come in dead last. Now we're going to check the sacks. The number 1 team in the sacks is the Wizards with 20, and the next 2 teams are 14. So it's a nice gap for the Wizards. So they're really getting to the quarterback. Going to interceptions. The Bisons lead everyone there with 7 in interceptions. Unfortunately, you've got several teams with just 1. Just 1. And some of these teams have really good secondary. So what are you going to do? Now we're going to go to the player stats. We're going to go to the DFL only, and we're going to go here. We're going to click on yards, as you can see. Boom. Kevin Irons, number 1. Then you got Riverhogs, McClellan, Kendrick, McLeod, Folk. As always, I'm just going to show you guys the top 7 because I could be here forever doing this. Touchdown leaders, though. Dawson and McLeod each with 7 interceptions. Kevin Irons, the number 1 guy in pass yards, has the most interceptions with 7. That could be something that's hurting the Miners, why they've been struggling so much with that many turnovers. Going to rushing. The number 1 team in the league number 1 player in rushing is Avery Reddick. Then you've got Klein, Jefferson, Brandon Cuevas, Pollard, and Cooper. I know Brandon Cuevas was just here a little bit ago, so he's got to be happy to see his name 4th in rushing. So it's nice to see a human player up there. He's got the 4th best rusher in the game. Going to go to touchdowns. It's Klein, and then Pollard, Robinson, Jefferson, Cuevas, and Browning in the top. Here's the one thing I was talking about that's just crazy. Look at this guy. 17 carries, 49 yards, 3 scores. So you know where he's getting the freaking ball. And then our leading rusher, look at this. Avery Reddick, look at his touchdowns. 0. The current leading rusher has 0 touchdowns. Z-E-R-O. Zip. 0. Nada. Nothing. So, not good for him. Moving on to receiving. In receptions, Pearman is number 1 with catches. Then you got Smith, Harris, McLean, Colwyn, and Madison. Going to yards, leading the league in yards is Dion Quinn. I still get a kick out of the fact that Vernon Quinn owns that team, and Quinn is his #1 receiver. Then you got McLean, Harris, Fulmer, Pearman, and Lucius West in yards. Leading the league in touchdowns is Sam Madison, who is now the backup, believe it or not, the backup tight end for that team. Very interesting. Then you got Quinn, Jordan, Green, Crestwood, and McLean. You can sit here and figure this all out, but you know, look at that. Antonio Woodward's giving up the most sacks. So, going to defense. There you go. I want to go total. And then you see, obviously, Pinkston's #1. You got Weaver, you got Rogers, Ridley, Childress, and Parsons. Tackles for a loss, leading the leagues in tackles for a loss is Brian Curtis with 6. Knight, Cherry, Ash, Spiller, and Beasley rounding out the top. #1 guy in the league in sacks is Eddie Herron, who now has 8. Hall, Jones, Manning, Hickman, and Bush are rounding out the top 7 here, or 6, excuse me. #1 guy in the league in interceptions is Trayvon Moore and Irving. And then you got Crocker, Pinkins, Wallace, and Cook. #1 guy in field goals is Bo Davis. Perfect, 100% so far. So is Brahman and Walton on this list. And then you got the net punting average belonging to Corey Little, #1 punter in the league, I believe, as far as net. No, it's Gray. Wow. Then you've got Ash, Franklin, Scott, Little, Miller. All right. Averaging over 50 yards a punt. It's freaking great. All right. Now, to what everybody really wants to see when it comes to this report. We've covered the standings. We've covered the records. We've covered some stats. Now what we're going to do is we're going to go into improved team, and I'm going to show you guys the current free agents. Again, I will show you the top 7 because that's what shows up on the list. If you want to see something deeper than 7, all you have to do is let me know. Get a hold of me. Here's your top 7 quarterbacks that are available via the free agent market. Moving on to the running backs. What the hell did I just do? Oh yeah, we want to do this. There we go. Here's your top 7 running backs via free agent market. Now, like I said, you guys are seeing their age, their overall, how much they're going to cost you, what their archetype is, and then you see some statistics. Again, if you need something in particular to know, let me know, and I will take care of it for you. Because some guys might say, hey, I want a guy who has good catching at running back. I got to go figure out their catching stats for you and let you know. Because I could be here forever if I got to go through every little thing in one video. But don't be afraid. Don't hesitate to ask me. That's what I'm here for. I can make sure we get you taken care of. All right, going to the fullbacks. And I did the wrong button again because I'm a jackass. There we go, fullbacks. Not much to talk about on fullbacks. There's just not. But there they are, so you guys know. I think everybody in the league has a fullback better than Todd Anderson, and he's the best fullback on the market. All right, going to wide receiver. Here is your best wide receiver. And I already know what's going to happen. I want DeMarcus Porter. I want Rudd. Why? Because they're 80 overalls? Why? Because you're not going to trust the team that you've got? I already know that's how it's been. A lot of guys are spending a lot of cash to have the best players available on their team, which is what you want to do. But nobody's thinking about their salary cap. Nobody's thinking about what they're going to have in the future. A lot of people are on the buy now, win now attitude rather than buy slow, build dynasty, win long time. So there's probably 3, maybe 4 teams who legitimately are going to be in salary cap hell next season unless they make the proper moves. All right, going to tight ends. Ooh, not much to speak of. Left tackles. I mean, look at that. Jermichael Booth probably going to be a backup if anybody signs him, and that backup's going to cost you $7.1 million. That's crazy. But hey, somebody might want it. The left guards are not good as far as overalls, and these guys are all mid-20s, so that's not good either. Centers, same situation, except we have a couple 23-year-olds there. But is anybody really going to take the time to sign a 62 overall 23-year-old center? We'll see. There's your right guards. And last but not least on the offense, your right tackles. Moving to the defensive side of the ball. I'm going to say now, this is a guy I'm thinking right here is going to be a hot commodity for a lot of people. He's 80 overall. He's 24 years old. So I'm expecting some people to want to go after him. And if they don't, I'll be surprised, to be honest. But I don't expect him to get past the top 2 to 3 teams. So if you're not one of the top 2 to 3 teams, I wouldn't even bother asking for him, because somebody's going to snatch him up. Going to the defensive tackle. Right end. And if you guys are hearing a lot of noise in the background, I can really apologize, because it is a fan. Left outside linebackers. Middle linebackers. Right outside linebackers. And we're going to get to the corners and safeties, and then we'll be done with your free agent availability. Corners. And we got some nice corners here. This could be some updates for some teams for a slot corner, dime corner. You know, if you want to improve your nickels and dime packages, some of these guys might be perfect. But who knows if you want to spend that kind of money for a guy just for the rest of the season. Then you have free safeties. Strong safeties. Your kickers. Most of those guys are extremely old, except for Marshall. And then you got your punters. So those are your free agents, ladies and gentlemen. Be smart with it. Fill it out. Let me know what you want to do. Now, eventually I'm going to come to this for every owner. And we're going to do this later in the season, so everybody knows. But as you can see right here, I'm on the minors team in the corner. They have 9 players currently that are going to become free agents at the end of the season. You know, and if I go to the top of the page here, I'm not going to go through every single team right now, but I will show you a couple. We got the Armadillos. They have 14 players, 14, whose contracts will expire at the end of this season. So eventually we're going to have to click on that and go through it. But here's the thing. I'm going to go team by team, and I'm going to do this. I'm just going to show you with the Armadillos. As you can see on the bottom, I can start negotiations. Problem is, when you go across here, now you find guys that are locked. I am going to wait until everything can be unlocked. This way we can do it all at once. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to get a hold of each team individually. We're going to talk privately. I'm not putting it on the air. And we're going to negotiate. Like right here, I'll be like, all right, Mr. Isaiah Haywood is a free agent. start negotiation. As you can see, he wants $75.8 million over 5 years, a $51 million sign bonus, which comes out to $127 million. So I would click this button, and this is what I'm going to do for everybody. Let's make that offer perfectly the way he wants it. Leaves them a cap room. I can't scroll up and show you, but you can see at the top on this side right here, it shows they have $137 million in cap space going into next season because of the players they're losing. So they have all these free agents. They're going to have to pay them and keep them under as a whole, under that $137 million. Because whatever players are running out of contracts, all that money comes off the cap. So it's going to be up to this team to how much they want to pay, how much they want to overpay. Because some guys are going to have to be overpaid to be capped. And then what's going to happen is the players that aren't capped are going to become free agents. And we're going to have a free agent cycle with the current owners to pick up free agents. And then you guys will submit like priority lists for your draft and things like that. But that's way into the future. So it's only heading into week 5. So we'll be getting to this here pretty soon. I know one owner mentioned it to me. Can we do the free agent signings after week 8 and then do it again at the end of the season? Because that's halfway. I personally am okay with that. If you guys want to do that, I'm alright with that. That's another thing you guys can get a hold of me with. Because we're just going to do it once. But this particular owner said he'd feel comfortable if he had a known which players he's still hanging on to ahead of time so he can start plotting for next season. And I was like, okay, why would that affect you? And then he made a good point. Let's say I want to re-sign this left outside linebacker and I can't re-sign him. This is say I was talking to the Armadillos owner. He could then just say fuck it and bench him and start the backup and start letting the backup to develop because that's the guy he's going to have next season. I can get that and I can understand that, and that's something teams are going to want to do that may be out of playoff contention after the halfway mark. It could be very smart for them. So I'm kind of digging the idea. So again, let me know about it in private if you think we should just do it once at the end of the season or if you're okay with doing a signing session halfway through. But that particular free agent signing session and week-to-week situation, well, that's going to take an extra couple of days because I'm going to have to get in touch with 16 owners. Well, right now it'll be 15 because, again, the Sacramento Miners need an owner, assuming they get an owner by then, to talk to 16 people privately. And it's going to take a couple days for me to get through everybody so we can submit week 8 and move on to the next week of the season. But in any case, that's all the information that I'm sure you guys need for the week. You now know the standings. You know who's leading the league in stats. Now you have until noon tomorrow, 12 p.m. Eastern Time tomorrow, to submit any and all free agency signings. I will then run you through the waiver wire in order, see who gets who on their team. Let me know privately about the Mexico City Diablo option for the Sacramento Miners if this owner comes on board. If it's something you don't want to do or don't want to see, let me know. Don't hesitate to say it. Be honest. If you think they should stay the Miners, tell me that. They're coming into this league after we've started. So, do we want to rock the boat or do we not want to rock the boat? For me, it's a little early in the season. We're just getting started. It's not a big deal, although them being more in the south kind of bothers me because I want to keep things geographically correct. And I'll show you this, what I mean, in case you guys are forgetting who's what. This is your south. Okay, and this is the only reason why I'm accepting it. Texas, Oklahoma City, Texas. If I were to have done this, go to the west, look at this. Salt Lake City, San Diego, Portland, here's Sacramento. Let's just say this was always Mexico City from jump. I would have sent this team to the west if it was Mexico, because I would not have taken that team, Oklahoma City, and put them in the west. They would have went in the south regardless. So, but anyway, ladies and gentlemen, that's that. If you have a few things you need to vote on, submit to me any of your waiver wire moves. I'm going to wrap this up. Good luck to everybody in week 5. It's been a blast so far doing this Dynasty Football League. But until then, we're out of here. Be safe. Later.